There's a technique Louise Hay discovered, a technique she was hesitant to teach, not because it's complicated and not because it's dangerous, but because she knew that once you learned this, the men around you would begin to act completely differently. In 72 hours, I know it sounds impossible. I know you've heard 1,000 promises about attracting men, but what I'm about to reveal isn't about attracting, it's about activating something far deeper. Louise Hay called it the feminine magnetic frequency, and for years, she kept this technique for her closest students only. Why? Because she saw what happened when a woman truly mastered it. She saw married men question their marriages. She saw bosses promote female employees without logical explanation. She saw strangers on the street literally change direction to be near these women, and it frightened her. But before you think this is manipulation, let me explain what's really happening and why modern science has finally proven that Louise Hay was right all along. Have you ever noticed how some women enter a room and all the men present seem to gravitate towards them? Even if they aren't necessarily the most beautiful women in the room, it's as if they emit an invisible frequency, a signal that completely bypasses the male conscious mind and goes straight to the most primitive centers of the brain. Louise Hay discovered that this frequency can be learned. It can be consciously activated. And most impressively, it can be verified in exactly 72 hours. But here's what she didn't tell just anyone. This technique doesn't work through traditional seduction. It doesn't involve specific clothes, expensive perfumes, or conversation techniques. In fact, it's almost the opposite. It's an energetic frequency you learn to emanate. There's specific vibration that activates what neuroscientists today call the healthy obsession centers in the male brain. And when I say healthy obsession, I mean an attraction so deep that the man can't stop thinking about you, but not in a sickly way, in a natural way, as if you were the answer to something he didn't even know he was looking for. Now, you must be wondering why I'm telling you this, why I'm revealing something Louise Hay kept secret. The truth is, Louise left specific instructions before she passed. She said that when humanity was ready, when women needed to reconnect with their true power, someone should teach this, and I believe that time is now. But I need to warn you about something. This technique, once you master it, your life will change forever, and not just with men, with everyone around you. You'll begin to notice that people treat you differently, respect you more, listen to you more attentively, as if you carried a natural authority that didn't exist before, and that can be intimidating. Louise Hay told the story of one of her first students, a shy librarian, 42 years old, who had never had a serious relationship. After 3 days of practicing this technique, the library director, a man married for 20 years, appeared in her department. He said he needed to talk, that he couldn't stop thinking about her. But that wasn't all. The local baker started saving the best bread for her. Her auto mechanic refused to charge for the service. Unfamiliar men started offering to help her with her groceries. In 2 weeks, she had 3 serious suitors, and that's when Louise realized that she had discovered something too powerful to be taught irresponsibly. Because see, this feminine magnetic frequency isn't about manipulating men. It's about awakening something authentic within you, something that has always been there, but that society has taught you to hide. It's about reconnecting with that part of you that knows that you are irresistible, not because you strive to be, but because you simply are. And when you emanate this frequency, men feel it on a subconscious level and they can't explain it, but they know you're different. Now, let me explain how this works biologically, because Louise Hay was decades ahead of science. But today we finally understand the mechanism. There's a region in the male brain called the ventral tegmental area. It's responsible for the production of dopamine, the neurotransmitter of pleasure and obsession. When a man is near a woman who emanates this specific frequency, this region automatically fires, without him knowing why. It's as if you were a natural drug, but not in a destructive sense, in the sense that his presence by your side becomes healthily addictive. He begins to associate you with feelings of well-being, purpose, and completeness, and the longer he spends away from you, the more he misses that feeling. That's why men who experience this start finding excuses to be near you. They invent reasons to call you. They show up in the places you frequent, not because they're stalkers, but because biologically, you've become a source of natural pleasure for them. And the most interesting part, is that this has nothing to do with physical appearance. Louise Hay tested this with women of all ages, body types and personalities. The only thing they had in common was that they all learned to emanate this specific frequency. But here's where things get really interesting. Louise discovered that this frequency can only be activated when you are in total harmony with yourself, when you love yourself completely, when you feel worthy of unconditional love. It's as if self-love itself generates a magnetic vibration, and that's why superficial seduction techniques never work in the long run, because they come from a place of lack, of need, and that energy repels instead of attracts. But when you emanate the frequency of absolute self-love, it's as if you become a magnet for everything that's good in life. Louise used to say that women who mastered this technique never again had to worry about finding a partner, because the right partners simply appeared in their life. She called it the reverse law of attraction. Instead of you chasing, you become irresistibly attractive. But let me tell you something that will shock you. Louise Hay developed this technique after a revelation she had at 55 years old. She was going through a really difficult time. She'd survived cancer, but felt invisible to men. So she decided on an experiment. She would spend an entire week treating herself as if she were the most irresistible woman in the world. She'd wake up every morning, look in the mirror, and say, "You are absolutely magnetic. Every man who sees you feels something special." At first, she felt ridiculous doing this, but on the third day, something extraordinary happened. She was in line at the grocery store when the man behind her, a well-dressed executive, started a conversation. He said there was something different about her, that she had a special energy. Before she knew it, and they were chatting for 40 minutes, and he asked for her number, but that wasn't all. During that week, 3 different men approached her, all saying the same thing, that there was something magnetic about her. And that's when Louise understood that she had discovered something revolutionary. She realized that when a woman truly believes, from the bottom of her heart, that she is irresistible, she begins to emanate an energetic frequency that makes it true. It's not about self-deception. It's about activating a truth that's always been there. Because you see, every human being is born with a natural magnetism, especially women. But society, disappointments, traumas, they diminish this frequency over a lifetime, until one day you look in the mirror and no longer recognize that powerful woman you once were. But the good news is that frequency never completely disappears. It just becomes dormant, and it can be reactivated. And Louise Hay created a specific protocol to awaken this feminine magnetic frequency in exactly 72 hours. It's a process that combines specific affirmations, guided visualizations, and a secret technique she called magnetic breathing. But before I teach you that, I need you to understand the responsibility that comes with this knowledge, because once you activate this frequency, you'll realize you have immense power over the masculine energy around you, and that power must be used wisely. Louise always said that magnetic women have a responsibility to use their influence to uplift, not to destroy. You can't use this to break up relationships. You can't use this to manipulate married men. You can't use this to feed your ego at the expense of others. This frequency, it must be emanated from love, not from the ego. And if you promise yourself that you will use this ethically, then I can teach you exactly how Louise Hay did it. But first, let me explain why it works so quickly. Louise's technique works on 3 simultaneous levels: mental, emotional, and energetic. On the mental level, you reprogram your beliefs about your own irresistibility. On the emotional level, you cultivate a state of unconditional self-love. And on the energetic level, you learn to emanate a specific frequency that activates the attraction centers in the male brain. It's as if you're transmitting on a frequency that only men can pick up. And once they pick it up, they can no longer ignore it. Louise discovered that the 72-hour period is exactly the time the nervous system needs to integrate these changes and begin to emanate the new frequency automatically. In the first 24 hours, you'll feel a subtle shift in your confidence. You'll look in the mirror and see something different, something brighter. In the next 24 hours, you'll begin to notice that people treat you slightly differently. They'll listen more, respect you more, as if you carry a natural authority. And in the last 24 hours, That's when the magic really happens. That's when men begin to gravitate towards you inexplicably. But here's what Louise never told anyone at first. This feminine magnetic frequency, it doesn't attract just any man. It attracts specifically the men who are on your vibrational level. If you emanate the frequency of self-love, confidence, and abundance, you will attract men who also vibrate with these qualities. It's as if the universe uses your new frequency as a natural filter to ensure that only people aligned with who you truly are drawn into your life. And that is absolutely revolutionary, because most women spend their entire lives attracting men who aren't on their level, men who vibrate at frequencies of neediness, insecurity, or emotional dependence. But when you emanate the feminine magnetic frequency, these men simply can't connect with you. It's like you're tuned into different channels, and the men who are attracted are those who are ready to love a powerful, confident, and complete woman. Louise used to say that this was the greatest gift of the technique, not just attracting more men, but attracting the right men, men who value you, who respect you, who recognize your magnificence and want to be by your side not out of need, but out of genuine admiration. And now, let me tell you exactly how you're going to make this happen in your life. But first, you need to understand that this isn't a technique you do once and forget. It's a deep reprogramming of your feminine essence. Louise Hay discovered that there are 3 main blocks that prevent a woman from emanating her natural magnetic frequency. The first block is what she called the invisibility program. It's when you've internalized the belief that you don't deserve to be seen, desired, or valued. This program usually starts in childhood. Maybe you heard that pretty girls are dangerous, or that smart women intimidate men, or that you shouldn't call attention to yourself. And throughout life, you've been dimming your natural shine, hiding behind baggy clothes, avoiding makeup, speaking softly, taking up less space. Without realizing it, you've trained your nervous system to emanate the frequency of invisibility. The second block is the neediness program. It's when you believe you need to compete for love, that men are scarce, that you have to work hard to deserve attention. This program makes you emanate an energy of need that, paradoxically, pushes away exactly what you want to attract. And the third block, and is the most subtle of all, Louise called it the reversed polarity program. It's when you internalize typically masculine characteristics, so you're maybe overly logical, controlling, or independent, suppressing your natural feminine qualities. Not that there's anything wrong with being logical or independent, but when you do it at the expense of your femininity, you stop emanating the frequency that naturally attracts masculine energy. Louise Hay discovered that, to activate the feminine magnetic frequency, you need to dissolve these 3 programs, and she created a specific protocol for this. The 72-hour protocol, the first stage, and it happens in the first 24 hours. It's the awakening phase. You'll start each morning looking yourself in the eye in the mirror for exactly 3 minutes, and you'll repeat a specific affirmation that Louise created. But it's not just any affirmation. It's a phrase she tested with hundreds of women, and that has the power to reprogram your subconscious at an impressive speed. The affirmation is, "I radiate an irresistible magnetism that awakens the best in the men around me." But here's the secret. You can't just repeat the words. You need to feel the truth of this affirmation in your body. Louise taught a specific technique for this. She called it magnetic breathing. As you repeat the affirmation, you breathe deeply, imagining you're inhaling golden light. This light enters the top of your head, descends through your chest, and expands throughout your entire body. When you exhale, you imagine you're emanating this golden light through your pores, as if you were a star radiating magnetic energy. Louise discovered that this specific visualization activates what neuroscientists call the default mode network. It's the network responsible for your core identity. In other words, you're literally reprogramming how your brain sees itself, how you identify yourself in the world. After 3 days of doing this, you'll start to feel a subtle but profound change. You'll look in the mirror and see a different woman, brighter, more magnetic, but that's only the first phase. The second phase happens between the second and third day, so it's the integration phase. Here, you'll start practicing what Louise called the magnetic walk. It's a specific way of moving through the world that communicates feminine power in every gesture. It's not about being seductive or obvious. It's about occupying your space with total presence. It's about moving as if you know that you are irresistible. Louise taught her students to walk as if they were wearing an invisible crown, with relaxed but firm shoulders, with their chin slightly raised, with a secret smile on their lips, and most importantly, with magnetic breathing activated, inhaling golden light and exhaling pure magnetism. She said that when a woman walks like this, men can feel her energy before they even see her. It's as if you emanate an invisible aura that announces an extraordinary woman is arriving. But the most important part of the magnetic walk is eye contact. Louise taught that when you look into a man's eyes, you should imagine you're transmitting golden light through your gaze. It's not a seductive or provocative look. It's a look that says, I see you, I honor you, and I know you feel something special in my presence. It's a look that awakens the best in a man, that makes him feel more of a man just by being near you. Louise tested this scientifically. She asked her students to practice the magnetic walk in public places and document the reactions. The results were impressive. On average, a woman practicing the magnetic walk received 70% more male glances, 50% more smiles, and 30% more respectful approaches. But the most interesting thing is that she also received much more feminine courtesy, as if other women instinctively respected her magnetic energy. It's as if, when you honor yourself completely, everyone around you starts to honor you too. But we're still only in the second phase. The third phase is where the real magic happens. It's between the third and fourth day. Louise called it the magnetization phase. Here, you'll learn the most powerful technique of all. The technique she hesitated to teach because she knew it would change your life forever. It's called heart irradiation. Louise discovered that there's a specific point in your chest about 2 fingers above your heart that, when consciously activated, emanates an irresistible magnetic frequency. It's as if this point were a natural antenna, capable of transmitting self-love in the form of pure energy. The technique is simple, but powerful. You place your right hand on this point, breathe deeply, and imagine that there's a small golden star shining there. As you breathe, this star grows, expands, until you can feel a gentle warmth radiating from that point, and then you imagine that this golden light expands beyond your body, creating an invisible magnetic field around you. Louise said that when you master this technique, you become a living magnet. Any man who enters your magnetic field immediately feels that you are special. He can't explain it, but he knows there's something different about you. And here's what's even more surprising. This technique doesn't just attract men, it attracts opportunities. Influential people start to gravitate toward you. Doors open inexplicably. It's as if the universe conspired to put good things in the path of a woman who radiates pure magnetism. Louise documented cases of women who, after mastering heart irradiation, received unexpected promotions at work, received gifts from strangers, were invited to exclusive events. One of her students, a 40-year-old nurse, said that after 3 days of practicing the technique, the hospital's chief physician appeared on her shift. He said he couldn't explain it, but he felt she should be leading important projects, and he promoted her to coordinator that same day. No interview, no selection process, just because he felt she was special. That's the power of the feminine magnetic frequency. But here's where things get even more interesting. Louise discovered that this frequency doesn't just attract, it also protects. Women who master these techniques are rarely bothered by inappropriate men. It's as if their very energy communicates, I only accept the best. Immature, needy men, or those with questionable intentions, simply can't connect with this frequency. It's as if they're automatically filtered out, and the men who are attracted are those who are genuinely ready to honor and value a powerful woman. Louise called this magnetic natural selection, the universe itself, using your frequency as a quality benchmark. But let me tell you the part Louise never revealed publicly. There's a fourth technique, a technique so powerful that she only taught her 3 closest students. She called it activation of ancestral magnetism. Louise discovered that every woman carries within her the magnetic frequency of all the powerful women who came before her. Queens, priestesses, healers, spiritual leaders, they all left an energetic mark on the feminine collective unconscious. And when you learn to connect with this ancestral lineage, you don't just emanate your own magnetism. You emanate the accumulated magnetism of thousands of extraordinary women. It's as if you're channeling the essence of the sacred feminine. And when a man feels this, the reaction is almost instantaneous. It's like he's in the presence of a goddess. But this technique can only be practiced by women who have already completely mastered the first three, because it amplifies everything you already are. If you still carry programs of deficiency or invisibility, this technique can be dangerous. It can attract more attention than you're prepared to handle. But if you're already radiating pure self-love, then this technique elevates you to a level of almost supernatural magnetism. And that's why, in the next 72 hours of your life, you're going to experience a transformation that may seem impossible. But before I teach you exactly how to do each of these techniques, I need you to make a decision. Are you really ready to become irresistible? Because once you cross that line, there's no turning back. Once you activate your magnetic frequency, you can no longer pretend to be small. You can no longer hide behind invisibility. And that can be scary. Louise Hay always said that the greatest fear of women is not being rejected. It's being seen. It's having to take responsibility for one's own power. Because when you emanate pure magnetism, you also attract responsibility. People expect more from you. They see you as a leader, as an example. And if you're not ready for that, this technique can overwhelm you. But if you are ready, if you're tired of being invisible, if you're tired of hiding behind a diminished version of yourself, then let's start right now. The first thing you're going to do, as soon as this video ends, is go to a mirror. Any mirror will do. You're going to look yourself directly in the eyes for at least 2 minutes, and you're going to repeat out loud, "I radiate an irresistible magnetism that awakens the best in the men around me." But pay attention. You can't just say the words. You need to feel them. You need to believe them the moment you say them. And if you don't believe it yet, that's okay. Louise used to say that belief comes after practice, not before. Fake it till you make it. But in a conscious and intentional way. Because your subconscious can't distinguish between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. When you visualize yourself as irresistible, your brain accepts it as truth. And when your brain accepts, your body begins to emanate the corresponding energy. It's pure neuroscience. Now, during these first 24 hours, you're going to start practicing magnetic breathing 5 times a day for just 2 minutes each time. You're going to breathe consciously, imagining that you're inhaling golden light. On the inhale, you visualize this light entering through the top of your head and filling your entire body. On the exhale, you imagine that you're emanating this light through your pores, creating a bright magnetic field around you. Louise discovered that this specific technique reprograms the nervous system at an accelerated rate. It's as if you're teaching your body to emanate a new energetic frequency. And the most interesting thing is that you're going to start feeling the effects almost immediately. On the first day, you'll notice that you feel different, more centered, more present, as if you occupy more energetic space. On the second day, you'll start to notice that people look at you differently, for longer, with more interest. And on the third day, that's when the real transformation happens. But let me teach you now the most powerful technique of all, and the magnetic walk technique. From now on, whenever you walk in public, you're going to imagine that you're wearing an invisible crown. Your shoulders will be relaxed, but firm, your chin slightly raised. Your breathing will be deep and calm. And most importantly, you're going to keep a secret smile on your lips, as if you know something wonderful that no one else knows, because you do know. You know you're emanating pure magnetism. Louise taught that when a woman walks like this, she automatically activates what psychologists call charismatic presence. It's an indefinable quality that makes people want to be near you. That awakens curiosity. That generates natural attraction. But the secret of the magnetic walk lies in eye contact. When you meet a man's gaze, you're not going to look away immediately. You're going to maintain contact for 2 seconds longer than normal. And during those 2 seconds, you're going to imagine that you're transmitting golden light through your gaze. It's not a seductive look. It's not provocative. It's a look that says, "I see you. I honor you. And I know you feel something special in my presence." Louise tested this with hundreds of women, and the result was always the same. Men who received this look remembered the woman days later. They looked for her on social media. They invented excuses to return to the place where they met her. It's as if you plant an energetic seed that continues to grow in their minds even after you've gone. But here's where things get even more powerful. Louise discovered that there's a specific time of day when this technique works with maximum intensity, between 6 in the morning and 9 in the morning. During this period, men's testosterone levels are at their peak, and when a man is high on testosterone, he is more receptive to the feminine magnetic frequency. It's as if, at this time, men are naturally tuned in to pick up your energy. Louise recommended that her students, whenever possible, they practice the magnetic walk during this period, a trip to the bakery, a stroll in the park, a stop at the coffee shop, any activity that put them in contact with men during the morning's magnetic window, and the results were stunning. One of her students, a 35-year-old lawyer who had been single for 3 years, decided to test this for a week. She altered her routine to take a 20-minute walk every morning in the park near her office. Applying the magnetic walk technique, on the first morning, 2 different men greeted her. On the third morning, one of them brought her extra coffee and offered it to her. On the 5th morning, an executive she saw every day but had never spoken to stopped to chat. He said there was something special about her morning energy. They went out to dinner that weekend. That is the power of the technique, applied at the right time. But now, let me teach you the more advanced part. The technique Louise hesitated to reveal, the heart radiation. This technique, you should only practice after completely mastering magnetic breathing and the magnetic walk, because it amplifies everything you are already emanating. The technique works like this. You place your right hand over your chest, about 2 fingers above your heart, and breathe deeply. As you breathe, you imagine that there is a small golden star shining at that point. With each breath, this star grows. It becomes brighter, hotter, until you can physically feel a gentle warmth radiating from that point. And then, you imagine that this light expands beyond your body, creating an invisible energy field around you. First, the light expands by 1 meter, then by 2 meters, then by 5 meters, until you are literally enveloped by a magnetic field of golden light. Louise said that when you master this technique, any man who enters this field immediately feels that you are extraordinary. It's not something he thinks, it's something he feels in his body. It's as if his presence near you activates feelings of well-being and fullness that he can't explain, and that is absolutely addictive. But here's what you need to understand. This technique doesn't work if you're emanating neediness. It doesn't work if you're desperate for male attention. It only works out when you are genuinely complete within yourself, when you don't need anyone to feel whole, because the feminine magnetic frequency isn't about needing men. It's about being so full that men naturally gravitate towards you. It's the difference between pulling and attracting. When you pull, you emanate neediness, and neediness repels. When you attract, you emanate abundance. And abundance magnetizes. Louise always said, you don't want a man who needs you, you want a man who chooses you. And men only choose women who emanate completeness. Now, there's still a 4th technique, the most powerful of all, the activation of ancestral magnetism. But this technique, Louise only taught to 3 women in her entire life, because she knew it was too powerful to be used irresponsibly. The technique works like this. You energetically connect with the lineage of all the powerful women who came before you. Queens, priestesses, healers, mystics, spiritual leaders, all of them left an energetic mark on the collective feminine unconscious. And when you learn to channel this ancestral energy, you don't just emanate your own magnetism, you emanate the accumulated magnetism of thousands of extraordinary women. It's as if you carry the essence of the sacred feminine, and when a man feels this, the reaction is almost instantaneous. It's as if he's in the presence of a goddess. But to access this technique, you first need to become worthy of it. You need to have completely eliminated the programs of neediness, invisibility, and inverted polarity. You need to be emanating pure self-love, because this technique amplifies everything you are. If you still carry shadows, it will amplify the shadows as well. But if you are already radiating light, then it elevates you to a level of almost supernatural magnetism. Louise said that one of her students, after mastering this technique, attracted the attention of a billionaire at a charity event. He said he had never felt such a powerful presence in a woman. They got married 6 months later. Another student, a 48-year-old therapist, started having a 6-month waiting list after learning the technique, not because she did anything different professionally, but because her presence had become magnetically irresistible. People simply wanted to be around her, and that is the true power of feminine magnetism. It's not about manipulating, it's about becoming so authentically magnetic that your entire life conspires to put good things in your path. But let me warn you one more time. Once you activate these techniques, your life will change completely. You won't be able to pretend to be small anymore. You won't be able to hide behind excuses anymore. You will have to take responsibility for your own power. And that can be the most scary and liberating thing you've ever done. But if you're ready, if you're tired of being invisible, if you're ready to discover what you're really capable of, then start right now. Go to a mirror, look into your eyes, and say, "I radiate an irresistible magnetism that awakens the best in the men around me." Say it as if it were the most absolute truth in the universe, because it is. You have always been magnetic. You just forgot. But now, you are remembering. And in the next 72 hours, you will discover what it really means to be irresistible. Louise Hay left a final secret that she never told anyone in her life. She said that women who master these techniques don't just attract extraordinary men, they become extraordinary women. Because when you emanate pure magnetism, you're not just changing how others see you, you are changing who you really are. You are becoming the most powerful version of yourself. And that is the true magic. It's not about getting a man. It's about becoming the woman you always knew you could be, but that maybe you never had the courage to be until now. Because now, you know the secret. Now you know you've always been irresistible. You just needed to remember. And when you remember is when you truly accept this truth, the whole world remembers too. In 72 hours, you'll understand exactly what I mean. But for now, start with the mirror. Look into your eyes and remember, you are absolutely irresistible, and you always have been. This isn't about some fleeting charm. This is about a deep, inherent power within you, a feminine magnetic frequency that draws people in, a subtle energy, an irresistible draw. Think of it like this. Imagine a local baker, someone who seems to effortlessly connect with everyone. Their warmth and kindness are infectious, a natural, irresistible draw, a subtle energy that attracts positive attention. They're not trying to be charismatic, it's simply who they are. And that's the power you possess. It's not manipulation, it's authenticity. It's the radiant energy of self-love, the confidence that shines from within. It's the kind of energy that makes a shy librarian seem captivating, makes the auto mechanic seem incredibly trustworthy, because it's not about a tactic or a trick. It's about the genuine connection you make when you fully embrace yourself. This isn't a quick fix. It's about unlocking your inherent power, tapping into that feminine magnetic frequency, and letting it shine. Louise Hay understood this. She understood the reverse law of attraction, that self-love is the key, not outward seeking, the dopamine rush of external validation, but the deep, abiding satisfaction that comes from within. That feeling of wholeness that emanates from your ventral tegmental area, that's the energy that will draw people to you. Not because you're trying to, but because you're radiating self-love. And that is utterly and completely irresistible. Remember that. Remember you, and let your light shine.